Why can't people drive? You know what I hate? When everyone slows down to look at a crash after it's been moved off of the road. Apparently, this is a phenomenon or something called rubbernecking, and it sucks. When someone looks over at a crash and then slows down, it sets off a chain reaction of other people slowing down and then looking at the crash, and then boom, there's a big old traffic jam. And I don't care if you want to gawk at the crash. Everyone behind you is somewhere to be. And looking at the crash and not the road in front of you could also lead to you getting in an accident. It blows my mind that almost every week I see either a close call or at least a violation of traffic laws by someone doing something stupid. I live in Arizona, or as I like to call it, the state with the worst drivers ever. Don't even fight me on this. We suck the worst. And I can't begin to count the number of times I've almost been sideswiped or cut off on the highway going 80-something miles an hour. And to think that if I was not paying attention, I could have gotten into a wreck. You probably have your own driving horror stories about a crash or a near miss that could have totaled your car. Still, it makes me wonder, why would someone drive so recklessly and risk causing a crash and losing their lives in the process? Well, let's get rid of the obvious reasons why people suck at driving. First off, if you're intoxicated, don't drive. I don't care how good you think you can hold your liquor, you're gonna crash, or you're gonna get a DUI. End of story. I'm also going to exclude new or inexperienced drivers, since it is likely that someone who is brand new to driving a car could cause an accident or maybe a traffic violation because they're brand new. If we do remove these factors and look at the general population of drivers who do have lots of experience, there is a surprising connection to bad decision making on the road. Turns out, bad choices while driving can be correlated to something called risk tolerance. If you're a finance bro or know anything about money, you may have heard this term get thrown around. Basically, risk tolerance measures how much a person is willing to risk to complete a task or achieve their goal. The higher the risk tolerance a person has, the more they're willing to possibly lose to get what they want. But when driving a car, someone's risk tolerance can vary drastically in moment-to-moment interactions. Some factors that can increase the risk a person is willing to take behind the wheel include stress, irritation, anger, sadness, or even situations like running late. If these factors are experienced while driving, it can severely impact how a driver may choose to act. And I can 100% relate to being late. I admit that when I'm running late and knowing fully well that even if I speed and run red lights and cut people off, I'm still gonna be late, but I do it anyways. I can also bet dollars to donuts that you too have shared in a similar experience. Don't even try to deny it. I've seen tons of people run red lights. I know it was you, okay? These notions can be responsible for road rage, which makes a lot of sense.
I said to shoot it.
Kiss my ass!
Mix these issues with things like traffic or getting cut off, and a driver could get angry and thus increase their own risk tolerance. But you may be thinking, I don't experience road rage, and I'm a pretty good driver at the end of the day. And yes, while you may not be prone to road rage and don't have challenges with anger management or stress, you still might make bad choices without even realizing it. Spencer McDonald, owner of Thinking Driver, a driving school which has been teaching commercial and recreational drivers since 1999, writes, quote, I've conducted thousands of driving evaluations over 25 years, and I've run across very few really bad drivers. This does raise the question of why we continue to have so many accidents on our road, end quote. Spencer continues to mention the risk tolerance thing I keep talking about, and about having a good attitude while driving. If your attitude is bad before you step into a car, you are more likely to perceive an event negatively and increase your own risk tolerance and possibly wreck your vehicle. Spencer also claims that if a driver is willing to change their own expectations while on the road, they can become a safer driver. So great. If you change your attitude, you can be a better driver, right? Well, kinda. Risk tolerance, in my opinion, is a big part of why people suck at driving, but I also think there is more to it. I think that people assume other drivers are going to compensate for their own bad driving, and they use it as an excuse to make bad choices behind the wheel. This is an example of something called the false consensus effect. It's an idea that everyone shares the same opinions and beliefs with you about something in particular. And because of this, you assume that others will follow the rules so you don't have to. Of course, that's just flat out wrong. In reality, more people fall victim to this effect than you would think, and will also choose to think that they are the exception to the rule, and thus people make more bad choices while driving. Personally, I believe that these effects can impact behavior while driving a car and are part of the reason why so many people really suck at driving. And I also have to admit, this is wild. I've never really thought too much about driving, or cars for that matter. I think this is because driving has become so normal. Almost everyone knows how to drive a car, and you need a car to get almost everywhere in the United States. We lose sight that these vehicles are marvels of engineering and, for lack of a better term, death machines if operated incorrectly. I guess what I'm trying to say is, more people are actually pretty good drivers, but are just as likely to make bad choices while driving because of psychological impacts. Changing your own behavior and realizing that even if you're going to be 5 minutes late, it's not worth it to take risks while behind the wheel. Truly a different take on bad driving.